It's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you are at work, in the car, or wherever you are, we hope you enjoy this show about the great sport of geocaching. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can be part of the adventure tonight in the chat room and participate with others as they watch the show. If you are listening later, please give it a like and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app so that you can get all of the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. If you have not become a patron of the Geocache Talk Network, what are you waiting for? Patron levels start as low as a Bison Tube level at $3 a month. To sign up is easy. Simply go to the Geocache Talk website and click on the Become a Patron button, or go to patreon.com/Geocache Talk. Patrons now get the famous Blackout coin, invites to special events, and other really great items throughout the year. Become a patron today. Have you subscribed to FTF Magazine yet? FTF Magazine is the #1 geocaching magazine available. It is a quarterly magazine that you can be part of. Submit your geocaching milestones and adventures to be published. FTF Magazine is also interactive with puzzles to solve and the hunt to find Spartacus. If you can solve the puzzle or find Spartacus, then you will be entered in to win a special path tag. Every new subscription, you will receive a special swag pack. Subscribing is easy. Just visit FTF's website, ftfgeo.com. Don't miss out and subscribe today.
And sponsored by smashingpennies.net. Get 10% off your order with code GeocacheTalkNetwork. They are perfect to put in a geocache. Graphics and our featured patrons: Scout Mom 5, Jinxer 05, Just B, Baker 6 Clan, Little Black Dog, R Cool and PJ Cool 711, CJ Hove, Chihuahua Jill, Cal Running, Holo Yossi, and Semmels 123. And our new patron, Soccer Kicks.
Soccer Kicks.
Spelled not like it looks. It's a little like the
it's not spelled like it's normally spelled, but if you look at it, it looks like Soccer Kicks.
Yeah, it does. If you if you phonetically say it, it looks.
If you saw that on a license plate, that is probably what you'd come up with.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Very cool. Yeah. So welcome. So Jesse, we're a week away from Podcast to Hope.
I know it's getting very, very close.
6 days to be precise.
I know. We already have our plan. I'm going to take a nap before it. And then we're going to do the podcast till 1 o'clock in the morning. Then we're going to sleep in late the next day. And then I've already got caches picked out for the next day. Once we finally wake up, because, I'll be in a coma after that. But once we finally wake up, we're going to town and going caching that day. So we got the whole weekend is going to revolve around. I'm not going to do anything on Saturday morning before that. And then Sunday, we're going to celebrate caching after the long podcast and just do some road caching for a little bit. So we got the whole weekend scheduled around caching.
Oh, that's perfect. Perfect. Somebody, Tyrone's like, what? I caught the show live? You did. We are live.
We're not really live. It's CGI.
Yes, we've done this.
It's an AI trick. It's not even us.
CGI. Right. It's all AI. No,
we're big budget now.
Well, we've done this now. We're in right. We're just animated. All right. We can just.
That's right. We're not even real people.
Yeah. We don't need to be here. We just sort of farm it out to, one of those big companies. We've been doing this now. We're in our 8th year. And did you ever freak out about the fact that we're live, that you're like, other than your cussing, that you've kept under control?
No, I don't care about being live. I've done a lot of public speaking over time and speaking in front of large groups.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you're speaking like to an audience that you're for training or whatever else, the general topic.
Right.
But a lot of times the last second you'll get one of those, hey, we cannot talk about this thing, or we have to steer away from this, or there's been a last minute change. You just have to go off the fly. So it never makes me nervous to do that. As a matter of fact, I would rather speak live, and I feel like it's a more honest discussion. than like when you can tell something's overly scripted. It's just like it seems so fake.
Yeah,
you know. And you know, obviously there's certain things that have to be scripted or whatever, right? But when you're talking about a fun thing like this, or like the podcast hope that we're doing, we're having great people on. I think that true emotional reaction comes from living in the moment right then.
No, I completely agree. And the good thing too is what we really interact well with the chat room, I think. And that's, I think, what really is a big plus for Geocache Talk is that we pay attention to what people put in the chat room. We don't ignore it. You know, there's always kind of the thing where, I mean, if you make a comment, you kind of hope that the hosts are paying attention. And that's the beauty of StreamYard is we see all the comments. We can bring up comments that we feel like are relevant to what we're currently talking about. So there's a little behind the curtains for everybody. So, for example, Jen mentions about there were some D4 T3.5, however you want to word it.
Yeah.
Where I go in Orlando.
Oh.
So add that to your list, Jesse.
Just a second, I will.
GC 48199. That sounds like an old. Is that where we're in right now? Is that our? I haven't put a cache out in a week.
We're up to more than that now. We're up to 6 now, I think.
Sometimes
I do have that marked.
Okay, cool.
Now I'll have to go do it.
We have a different opening for Podcast to Hope next week, 2023. But I wanted to kind of sort of get everybody thinking in the mood. I've got my background all set for next week. For those who wonder, I turned it's a whole different wall behind me. So if you look, the other wall with the Geocache Talks over here. So I've spun the whole thing around and it's now facing the side wall, which I took down all my paintings that I had put up over there. So anyway, not like everybody wants to know about all that, but indulge me. I want to play one video to get us in the right frame of mind. It's a previous one, but I wanted to, we won't be able to show it on Saturday because we've really got too many other videos to pepper into the show at different places. But I really feel that this particular video is really, really good. And since we're not going to be able to show it next week, I want to show it this week. So let's do that, and then we'll jump into in the show. So this will be sort of our news section, I guess you could call it. So here we go.
Cancer is not fair. We need to fight harder. We need to understand better. We need to take steps forward.
It is so heartbreaking to see the parents, how they react, but unfortunately, sometimes you have to say no.
A lot of these children, they have dreams. I want to give these children a fighting chance.
The doctors would tell us, when patients hear about this, they don't come back anymore. They just wait for the disease to take over. We just accept it, let it happen.
St. Jude was founded in the 1960s with a goal that no child should die in the dawn of life. And that means any child suffering today of cancer is our responsibility.
At St. Jude, we don't care who cures cancer. We just need to advance the cure.
Our mission is local and global.
This is what we're all called to do, to address the suffering of precious children and their families on a global scale.
Real victories are those that protect human lives. You should be the hope for any child across the globe.
We all exist here on this planet to benefit others.
If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
I think it's the kind of place that stands as a beacon for pediatric cancer.
St. Jude is bold to try and bump cure rates all around the world.
Unbelievable courage to tackle the impossible.
These are the kind of discoveries that you want the world to have.
This is the movement.
We could save more lives.
St. Jude, they're saving so many children.
This is the effort.
So we want to reach out to more children and cure more.
Transform the landscape of pediatric cancer care across the globe.
Help humanity at large.
Every child with cancer should be cured.
Our work's not done. Every child
should be able to live a long, healthy life.
And we will not stop until we cure all these children.
You're doing something good, not only for the patients, but for the world.
When Danny Thomas said no child should die, he was thinking about kids all over the world.
Big one.
Yeah.
All right.
But, you know, and again, you can look at that as a sad thing, or you can look at it as an amazing accomplishment. St. Jude is not just one of the heartstrings there. They're changing the world with that, right? Because we didn't start out 4 out of 5 in the United States.
Yes.
It's there now, but it didn't start out that way. And we'll cover that a lot next week.
No, I did not.
But you can look at that like on the surface and go, oh, that's sad. Or you can look at it and go, that is a huge accomplishment. And when they say they're going to do that for the world, they're going to do it for the world. They really are. So you got to look at it. You got to look at the positive part of that and go, this is really changing things.
It's amazing too. And what really, I mean, all of it is incredible, but one of the things that really struck me was what you told me when Christy worked there, which was, you know, walking the halls, you'd think everybody's crying and you know, everybody's, you know, it's just a real downer, but it's not. They're really they're keeping it upbeat for the kids, right?
You know, I'm not getting any of these comments tonight. I think I'm going to pop out and pop back in. I'm not getting any comments from the chat room. And like you said before, that's like our third, you know, our other co-host. I'm missing a lot of that. So I'm going to pop out and pop back in. So I'll be right back.
Pop them back in because I can see them. So go ahead. You go do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting some good comments, and Jesse will be right back. So yeah, I know it was way too soon for the commercial. Sorry. But I can't, we can't, I wanted to play that. We really haven't been able to play all of them. So we're just going to play, we got plenty more to play next week. So,
oh yeah.
Anyway, so.
Okay. I'm back in the
video. You seen them at all now, or?
I think it's called back. Yeah. They're all showing back up now.
Okay, good.
I wouldn't get anything before.
Good.
I mean, I feel like I'm missing half the show.
Yeah, Lori.
Sure, we can. We can still talk.
Lori
about Jesse
says we can't talk about Jesse was gone. That's funny. You can, yeah. All right. So, last reminder. Remember, Podcast Hope is Saturday.
Yes.
So make yourself a note. Make a reminder in your phone. Saturday this year starts at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, Next year, we're going to start at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. So Jesse isn't up till 1 a.m.
And all of our East
3
Coast
to 11
people have to stay up to 1 a.m., right?
Next year.
Right. We
Exactly.
have a lot of East Coast
so next
people,
year we'll
so,
do,
yeah.
but yeah. So the good part is that we don't do it on Sunday night anymore. We do it on Saturday. So Saturday night. Yeah. So Hodag, that's a good comment. So Hodag says this will be his 6th podcast Hope. His first where he'll be dropping coins for kids. Yeah, coins for kids will be on. We intentionally put them as the last hour because that should be our last bump to get us past the 13,000 we're raising this year, and it's just a fun culmination for coins for kids because that was a great great lineup. You can check it out online. We've got several places we've posted the schedule. Very excited about this. The guests that we have. We'll have one in-house guest. So Jared, the 3-time Jeopardy champion, will be coming to my house, and we'll have him on at the 5 p.m. Central time frame. So I've kind of rearranged the room a little bit, and so I'll slide over, give him room to sit next to me, and then I've got another microphone we're working on to get working, and so we'll do a little stereo thing with the two of us for that hour, which will be different. We've done it one other time when I think the kids were in town, but we'll have it's kind of different. We'll have somebody in studio, which will be great. So, all right. So this week we decided to talk about throwdowns. So to give a little background, a couple of weeks ago, when did I? Because I did screenshots. It was September 30th. I started to get messages from a person. We're not going to tell you who it was. But if you want to do some investigating on your own, you could probably figure out the person's GC name. Anyway, so they posted a note that basically said that they were going to go fix my caches. They were out at a location and they were fixing my cache for me, and they were putting a cache down in place of what they thought was a missing cache. They did that twice. The two caches are not too far away from each other. So I sent a note and I said, and we'll get into what everybody thinks about this in a moment. I just want to give you the full story first. So I sent a note and I said, throwdowns are never needed. I have some cache maintenance scheduled for next week. And I really did. I had some time, actually took a day off work because I had I had a day that I needed to go ahead and use. I had other ones scheduled, but I thought, I'll use that. So I told them I was going to delete their logs because that wasn't needed. And the response from this person was, excuse me, there is nothing at either location. So I put in some effort to help, and you simply delete my logs. And I wrote, excuse you, if you can't find a cache, you DNF and move on. That lets the CO know that they need to check on their caches, which they responded back, excuse you, your cache clearly needs maintenance. You ignored it, and now you treat someone helping like feces, although they didn't write feces.
we can decode that part. Don't worry. Yeah,
you can decode that. Then I wrote, because one of them that they said wasn't there, I did not know, because I said there were no DNFs on the particular cache for starters, so no apparent maintenance was needed there. I mean, there was needed maintenance, but I had no idea yet because I hadn't been out there yet. And I try to check on my caches regularly, but again, she caught it at a point of time when I was about to go out there. So anyway, secondly, your language and attitude may get you banned. I said but I assume they won't. I reported them anyway. I knew they weren't going to do anything about it, but I figured, what the heck, I'm going to report them. So I reported them. Anyway, so there you go. That's part of it. I did check on some other of their fines. Did you like? I'll show one of the fines here. I've covered up their. So let me share my screen, and then we'll get into the actual discussion about it. So,
and I've got questions already.
Okay. All right. Let me. So this was one of their fines, not one of mine. This is later on. So they claim this is a fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like a fine to me. Do you see a log? Do you see a log to sign
not.
here? Or
I mean, it could be a tricky cache. That could be a red herring, I guess.
I guess that's true. That is true. But we all kind of know the situation. So anyway.
Okay.
Just to kind of show you that they, all right. So let's jump back. So I guess some people are commenting. They're agreeing with me. Interesting comment by Creepy Leech. I was going to pull that one up first. So, speaking as a cacher who has cached every single day for over 9 years, throwdowns severely impact the community. Mileage, streaks, counties, delorms, etc., all get affected. Interesting comment.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to that as well. But I think there's a lot to say about throwdowns, and we're going to get into as much as we can tonight, but we could probably talk about it for 4 hours. So dissecting the one that you had, let's just dissect those first. First of all, there's no doubt that a throwdown is not supposed to happen, right? In this situation. We'll talk about when they ever could be allowed, possibly later. But in these two caches, they clearly put them down. There was no previous DNFs. There's no reason to think that they hadn't found them. What were these caches? Like, what kind of caches were these?
One of them was a lamppost skirt that I use, that I have. It's near a hotel, and I've kept it there for years because it's one of my older caches. And the reason I kept it there is because I was getting comments from people who were like, "Thank you so much for having a cache near the hotel," because I was with someone else. I didn't have a car. I wanted to find a cache. I didn't want to, I didn't have any transportation to go into town. I'm with, they had no,
right.
A lot of them would say something to the effect of, I was with others. I didn't have the chance. And you have one near the hotel. So that was great. So that was one of them.
That's a good one.
The other one also, all the one is near the hotel as well, but it was nothing special, basically bison in a tree kind of deal. So it wasn't really, neither one of them were
like
what I would
1.5 difficulty on both of these.
Yeah.
Okay. No terrain to it, so probably 1.5 terrain as well.
Yeah.
So these are low DTs. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not trick. They're both traditional, right?
Correct. These were both traditionals.
Yeah. So it's not a matter of like they couldn't find where they are. They had a pretty good idea of where they should be, but they just assumed that they couldn't find it. Okay. So to me, I see what's going on with this, right? And you see it with all these throwdowns. People don't, it's more important for them to check off another smiley than to play the game the right way.
Correct.
It's all about the numbers for them. And, you know, there's other throwdowns we'll talk about later, but for these, it was more important. Now, having said that, I'm going to back up a little bit. First of all, I will say they're in the wrong. There's no way you can look at it. By the rules, they're in the wrong, without a doubt.
Yeah.
However, I think there is an undercurrent in a culture out there that teaches people to repair caches. Repair is different than replace. But people people that are meaning absolutely well keep like a cache repair kit in their car. Right?
Yeah.
And they will, like if you had a container and it's there at all, like part of the container's there, like it's a cracked pill bottle. Swap it out. No problem with that. Swap it out. There's a log there, whatever else. But there's a difference in like a sliver of a cache being there and no cache being there at all. But you don't want to put the DNF. So you're going to replace it and say that you're doing maintenance. That's not maintenance. That's replacement. The total different thing.
Yeah. Right.
If you haven't contacted the owner ahead of time, and that's a total different thing. I know we'll get to later, right? But
we'll get to. Yeah.
I don't know how you can justify that now in her mind or his mind or whatever on that cacher.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that they were indignant, thinking, "Look what I did for you."
Yeah.
Now, they're only doing it because they wanted the smiley, right? But there's a good chance that they have been taught,
like Bertrand says, got to get the cash no matter what.
And I know there's a large section of people out there that have been taught and that tell other people, if it's missing and it's just a trash cache, just replace it, get your smiley, and move on. You know?
Right.
So that's
they're assuming
I don't know what the percentage of people that do that, but it happens very frequently.
Sure. Now, well,
here you go. What about the lonely zip tie that was clearly a cache? Here's the deal. Let's boil this whole argument down to something right now. It's missing. You didn't find it. If it's a zip tie and there's no cache, you did not find it. The right thing to do would be to put DNF, cache was missing, and then move on, right? However, people don't, just like a lot of society, nobody accepts that they can't do everything they want to do. So like, well, I needed that cache for the day. Okay. So that desire overrode your doing the right thing. We all know, nobody doesn't know that if a cache is not there, you're not supposed to claim it. Everybody knows that in geocaching. Now, are there examples of other, just black and white? Everybody knows that. However, there are other situations out there, right? So, but on yours, could that person, I bet that person, because of the way they approach that, they really thought they were doing the right thing. They really thought, they're doing the right thing because they've probably been told that before and been told to keep a cache repair kit. And then when you had the gall to tell them they're breaking the rules, they're like, what? And they may just be a mean person anyway, right? You never know what happens when you see stuff online.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of salty language probably didn't. I mean, not that I really care about that, but it's more that it's indicative of the type of person that they are. Now, had they approached it differently, then I would probably have, if they would have said, "Hey, I'm at this," if they would have sent a note and said, "Hey, I'm at this cache. It appears to be missing. Is it okay if I replace it for you?" Then then it's up to the cacher to the cache owner.
That's a previous agreement, but that's called consent. You have consent at the time. That's different.
Consent.
Yeah, that's a pretty important word.
Yes, in fact, to give you an example, one of the things that we were going to go out as our little Molly caching crew to an area, and I had identified several caches that we wanted to do that day.
Yeah.
One of the caches nearby to where it was Earth Cache Day, and there was an Earth Cache. Now, near the Earth Cache, there was a cache that was missing DNF. There was like multiple DNFs. So ahead of time, several days beforehand, I sent a note to the cache owner. I said, "Hey, we're going to be in this area. It's not near the house, so it's over in the DFW area." And we said, "We're going to be over in this area. if you would like, I can replace this cache as a maintenance help for you. Now, technically by the rules, I don't think that's supposed to be allowed because
perfectly okay. No, I think that's perfectly okay.
I mean,
so
some people would say, the cache owner has to do it, but
that's bullcrap. So there's a difference between CO having given permission as well. Yeah, absolutely. That is the perfect. That is not a throwdown. If you talk to the owner ahead of time, they go, hey, yeah, my cache is missing and I can't get out there for some reason. Whatever it is, health, life, whatever else, they can't get out there. That's not even a throwdown. That's a cache maintenance that you're helping somebody with. Prearranged, you're helping them ahead of time. That is not a throwdown. I don't even think that falls into this category at all. You know ahead of time. Now, that doesn't mean like, hey, I know this cacher, he'd probably be okay with it. Bam. That's a little different. But
that's different.
That's different. So no, I think in that one. So having said that, in all the years that you've been caching, have you ever thrown down a cache? Let's see how honest you are.
Not without. No, I've never done that. Not without somebody saying.
Never done it. No LPC. Never found an LPC that was missing and just replaced it because you knew it was supposed to be there.
I replaced some where I knew the CO. Does that help?
Did you ask ahead of time?
Most of the time I would. Actually, we had
sometimes you didn't. No, you just said most of the time. That means you have done it then.
I have, but I've always sent a note. Now, if they didn't want to, we were in the area.
Afterwards. Yeah,
I could always. Well, I've had a couple where I've done it in the afterward, but I always there's 100% of the time I've sent a note, and 100% of the time, if they would have come back and said, "No, I don't want you," because I never did on a one where I didn't know the cache owner. We need a polygraph. Go ahead. Put me on the polygraph. So now if the cache owner that I knew would come back and say, I don't want you to do that, then we would have swung back around and grabbed it and all that. Because I wouldn't have wanted that to happen. I've always sent a note, and I've never done it on a cache where I didn't know the person. If I didn't know them, then I didn't want to take it. I'm not taking a chance on any of those.
Yeah.
We just mark as a DNF and we never did. If we know them, we'd send a note. Now, some of them we'd send the note and we'd keep going. We'd replace it because if it was like an LPC, we would replace it. We'd keep going. We'd send a note and see, but we would never. And like I mentioned before, there was a situation where I knew the cache owner, but they had specifically said, I think I told you about the Jefferson, Texas ones where there were all the Halloween caches. And those, we had some DNFs on there, but we knew ahead of time that we could not replace them. And so we just didn't do it. We never replaced those because even though we knew the cache owner, they had specifically said, just let me know, because they were special containers. So those happened.
So, and Bill on the Move, he's more honest than you. He admits that in his first month when he started, he placed
he didn't know better.
He didn't know better. He thought he was just helping out. So I just had to get to some honesty there for a minute, because you were just.
Well, how about you?
Around. So
don't just me. Yeah. How about you?
Oh yeah, I've done it. No, I've done it. You don't put me on a lie detector test. I've done it. And now it was early on, right? And but that was part of how, I was kind of told that in the beginning that if one's missing, it was a good thing to do. Now I can say it's because these were more remote caches, or I can say it's because it was in that area or whatever. But some of the people that I cached with in the beginning, they would keep the big kits and they would go and replace them. Now most of these were out in the middle of nowhere, or they were, other things or whatever. I didn't realize that. I thought that was a good thing in the beginning. I thought you're helping somebody out that can't get out there, Now, again, it was the way it was kind of explained to me. It only really applied to like no-name containers, pill bottles, things that were easy to replace with the exact same thing, right? Not an ammo can or whatever else.
Right.
I didn't know for a long time it could, not a long time, but I mean, in the very beginning, it was many, many years ago. I thought I was doing a public service, but just like this person that I thought, man, what? I'm doing a good thing. I'm taking all my time to put all this stuff out there. It took me a while to figure out that was not how it was. I mean, not a while, but it was a long time ago. But I don't do it now, but I didn't know in the beginning.
Right.
I'm very against it now, but I didn't know in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things that they're like, well, it's clearly in the rules. Well, the rules are 88 pages long and like 800 hyperlinks. Nobody reads all those rules.
Sure.
So, you don't find out until you get to talking to other cachers. You find out, oh, okay, that's not what you're supposed to do. But in the beginning, I did that a few times. I thought I was doing a good thing. I'd keep some in my car and I'd fix it, or whatever I could. But now, have I done any of that ever since? No, I have. I'll admit it.
Yeah.
If I get on a big power trail and there's 100 of them out there, now when I go do a power trail though, so I guess it really doesn't apply. I always contact the owner ahead of time, and I say I'm headed out to do these, and I'll generally ask them. Now I don't ask about every single one, but I say if I find one that's broken, do you want me to fix it?
If I'm missing,
So now technically, I should probably just go out there and DNF, the 37th one out of 100, but I always try to check ahead of time. Or if I go into really remote areas, like in the mountains, I'll even contact them ahead of time. Like, let's say there's one that's way out in the mountains and it's really far hike. I'll contact them ahead of time and go, it hadn't been found in a long time. I'm going out there,
Right.
Do you happen to know that it's out there or
that's
not?
Different.
Or what is it? And I've replaced ones with ammo cans before. I'll carry an ammo can all the way out there with me if they're like, man, I haven't been out there in 2 years.
If
I'm going out
if
there,
it's gone, replaced.
Yeah. They'll say like,
the thing. No, I was gonna say real fast. The one that we
that's
did.
Permission. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, the one we did in Grapevine area was, I had planned ahead about a week, and so I was able to not just. The other thing too is when you replace, even for a cache owner, you kind of want to try to replace it as close to what they wanted as possible. So we were able to hide, because now we searched, and we told them ahead of time, like, we're going to search. There's like 5 of us, so we're going to have 10 eyes looking for this thing. We know roughly where it is. The cache owner explained to us what it was, where it was, what particular tree, that kind of thing. And so when we got there, we're like, okay, it is gone. They were cool with it, but we were able to replace it with similar to what he had. It was a what do you call those? What are the containers? I'm drawing a blank. It's the container that's like a plastic container that's like a
lock and lock.
There's a special name for them. I'll think of it.
Preform.
But anyway, yeah, it was kind of like it wasn't a preform. Was it a preform? No, it's the I'll think of the name of it here in a minute. But anyway, we actually had one of the group we had one. So we're like, oh well, we'll just use the same container, same type of container. We knew roughly where it would be. We didn't really have anything that we knew. We didn't know exactly on the tree where it would go, but we got pretty close, I think, to what the original. We had pictures too, so we were able to kind of replace it with a similar. So when you can, you want to try to replace it as best you can, obviously with the owner's consent, or at least get the owner's consent before you leave the area. It's the way we kind of do it. So, but no, I agree with you. You and I have been in situations where clearly there was no reason for a throwdown. We always joke about the ones along the letterbox, the 135 letterboxes along a trail, and you got the decon. That's it. Yeah, Jim's on it. Yeah, Jim
decon,
Jim knows how to a decon container. Yeah, so I know. We in our group of the Motley Caching crew, we had one, so it was like, oh, and obviously, when the group was like, okay, I don't have any more. I have a decon, but it's gone. And so we asked one of the guys, and like, yeah, that's fine. I don't need it, so that's fine. So the one you found, and you said you've seen this before, but we got a picture of the lined up of the original and the Throwdown in the same photo, and they weren't more than
absolutely
6 feet away from each other. So there's no reason to do that. If you can't find it,
that's all that was. That was a power trail. They're just in a hurry.
It was a power trail. They got in a hurry. Yeah.
Yeah.
They weren't even.
So what's your feeling about a Throwdown on a power trail, though? How do you feel about that?
Like you did, if you know the CO, or even if you don't know the CO,
no CO. Just that you come up on a power trail today, no work ahead of time. There's one missing. You've got containers in your car.
I don't need the numbers. I skip it. I mean, I don't skip it. I DNF it. and move on. I really do. I don't fix them anymore.
Yeah,
there's no need.
I just don't think it's the end of the world right now. During any normal time, if I was on a power trail, I'd throw one down in the middle of it just because I know it's I don't care about that at all. If I'm in the middle of 100 out in the middle of nowhere and there's one missing, I would let them know. I would say this one was missing. I'd send the CO a message or whatever, but I'm going to throw it in if he goes, if he was one of those, I'm going to delete your log. Cool. If he's mean like you and I'm going to delete your log, I'd be like, cool, I don't care. I got the other 99, but, I would try to save the dude time on that. Now, even though that's a double standard, right? Like in town, I would never replace. And here's my opinion on this. I don't want to get off into a side shoot, but power trails are trash usually. They're just trash laying in beside posts purely for numbers. Rarely ever a power trail is any quality at all. I know there's exceptions before anybody loses their mind. I know there's some exceptions. There's some out there that are awesome or whatever. But most of the time, they're just a way to cheat numbers and, go post to post or, telephone pole, every third telephone pole you go and you get another smiley, right? You jump in the car, it's just a different fun experience. Do I care? No. If you do a Throwdown on GR, Picasso. Yeah, I mean, like.
With a Picasso. If you don't find it, it'll be a Picasso.
Or whatever. But in the big scheme of things, does a Throwdown on a power trail matter? No. You're not out there because of the quality of the cache. You're out there because you want to get 100 in a day, right? Now, is it still wrong? Yeah, it's absolutely wrong. It's without a doubt. And I think somebody where's the starred ones? So, Tigrass is you're purist about it, even with permission. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're right.
We got a little delay, so I didn't want to talk over you. It says, if you're a purist about it, even with permission, you shouldn't be replacing. If a CO hasn't been to a cache in over 2 years to check on it, that's their responsibility to replace. I 100% agree with that. Without a doubt. That's their job to replace that stuff. However, there are extenuating circumstances, like people are in bad health, but they want to keep it going. And many times we all chip in and help each other maintain caches, especially, I don't mean the one on the park bench that's, a mile down from your house, but it's up at the top of a mountain. That's a little different, right? There's some extenuating circumstances. Is it technically that cache owner's responsibility? 100%. 100% agree with that. But, like somebody else said, they have guidelines and not rules because it's such a odd game. And, we should be working together and doing stuff. When it gets annoying is when somebody's just throwing them down, not even pretending, or it's on a quality cache or they're replacing something because they want the smiley when they shouldn't, and I know saying a quality cache is something different, but to everybody, but a power trail is not a quality cache. A cache that somebody does like in town or in the mountains or whatever, something special like that, that's completely different in my opinion.
Let me ask you about a few comments have come in that are really good. Bill Frampton mentions, all I ever ask when someone is doing the giraffe art that he has, let me know what they replaced it with so I know what I'm looking for when I need to do maintenance. That's a good point because if somebody replaced it, you kind of want to know what they did.
Is he talking about the one here in Florida? Because I've got that on my list to go do. In fact,
is there? Okay,
where's Bill at?
I don't know. Bill, tell us where you're at, buddy.
Bill, tell us where you're at.
Eric's comment is interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead and delete. Go ahead and I wouldn't say delete, but
we've got like a half a second delay, so we're talking over each other. Here, let me pull it up. I'll pull it up. Hold on.
Okay.
So, as a CEO of a power trail, I appreciate cachers to throw down. Then I don't have to drive all the way out to check on it, even if that means there are 3 caches there now. I get that, right? It makes it easier on a power trail. You can't put that on your thing. Although, I'm sure he's not talking about his Where I Go power trail, because that one's awesome. And those are hard to get to. So people would put those in the wrong location, but he must be talking about a different one he has, because he's got an awesome one that I've done.
Yeah.
I mean, we were like climb the top of signs and trees, cross ditches and stuff like that. It was not, so he's not talking about that one, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing I want to ask Eric about, because when I think of the one when he's talking about, it makes me think of the one that Zach put out. And one of the things I think that we need to be, this is something that really is concerning. Hello, my name is Tiger Eye, and I've done throwdowns. That's good confession there, Tiger Eye.
Okay, so Bill, that is the Bill from down here in Florida. So
okay, cool.
He's got one. I've already solved all the puzzles for it. I just got to go do it. So, Bill, if there's any missing, I will let you know for sure.
Yeah. So here's the potential problem. I mean, Eric, it's his cache. In a sense,
absolutely,
he can. In fact, it'd be kind of. I mean, it's kind of like geotrash though. But it'd be kind of funny if you put a note in the cache. It's like, when you get there, put a cache down, just for the fun of it. You could have like a whole grouping. But a whole grouping, like we're gonna have 5 or 6 caches.
Things. So there was a cache series in Colorado years ago, and I don't remember the owner's name now. But that doesn't matter anyway. But on his cache page, he said, if this is missing, he goes, I placed the cache. It's the community's job to like replace it, basically. Like if it's missing, put one there. The reviewers eventually saw it and made him take it off. But this person did never plan to go out and check on that cache again. He had placed it. It's other people's job to take care of it after that, which is a different extreme, right?
Yeah, exactly. Very much. Here's the problem that can happen if you allow for that. Oh, go ahead. You found something from Hodag? Or did I click on that?
Nope. No, I think you clicked on that.
I'm sorry. My cache, I picked it up and used to do maintenance on another cache of mine down. That's funny. Picked up the Throwdown. Yeah, and used it somewhere else. That's clever. So here's the problem that I think can occur.
Okay.
That we have to be, as a whole geocache community, we got to be careful of, and that is, if you have a difficult cache, if you have a tree climb, I have seen where we ran across one and we were prepared. We had a ladder. We had some younger cachers with us. So if the cache was going to be something that not younger, I mean, we're not talking younger than me or TP was like 85, so relatively younger. We were prepared. We get there. The cache is on the ground. Okay. Now, this isn't right. So we didn't feel like that was probably the container. We weren't sure. So we, one of the little bit younger dudes, as we were all looking up in the tree, he climbed up and he found the cache because it wasn't that difficult, but it was a tree climb.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people who don't come prepared. If you're older, bring a ladder, or as you say, just don't do it. Just don't do the cache if you can't. Just
skip it. There's a lot more of them out there. Yeah.
Skip it. But somebody was like, and if you go back through the logs, which I did, I came back and looked through the logs afterward. Oh, you know what they did, of course. Oh, I found it on the ground, so I signed it. Maybe they did. Yeah. There were several names on it because everybody whoever was the original threw it down. They didn't want to go up in the tree. And then from then on, everybody found the one on the ground. They go, oh, it must have fallen out of the tree. Let me sign it. Chunk. They chunk it back on the ground. They're not climbing up in the tree to fix it, or they're barely kind of sort of semi putting it up in a tree, but they're not really.
So is that any different than y'all standing around and watching the young guy climb the tree?
That's for another show.
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I like the one.
You know, Joker, that not all 5 of y'all went up in that tree to sign that cash.
No, we didn't.
There's no chance. And here's the deal, though.
We did.
Does that matter? No. It's not the end of the world.
Doesn't.
You know, it happens all the time, just like throwdowns happens all the time. And when it becomes a problem is when, like, this person that contacted you, then they're offended. Like, no, you broke the rules, and you take the chance anytime you break the rules of the owner may not want it that way, right? And you're just out of luck. That, you know, the owner could have very well gone, y'all didn't all climb it, only one person gets credit for it. Okay, you got me.
Okay,
you know, whatever,
you got me.
No big deal. It's when it becomes a problem, and the truth is you should be asking permission for you to change anything on anybody's cache ever. And
absolutely.
If you don't get that permission, you shouldn't be doing it. However, does stuff happen like that? You know, you get out there, and there's a difference in maintenance and replacement, right? You get out there,
that's
and you're that nice of a guy. It's a busted lock and lock because it got cold, and you put another one out there for him and tell the owner. That's being a good guy. But there's nothing out there. You don't know whether you found it or not because there's nothing there. Just because there's a twisty tie doesn't mean that's even the cache. Now you're taking it on yourself at that point. You're breaking the rules when you do that.
Yeah. Bell on the move. But what if they don't see it, Andrew? If they don't see it, why do you need a throwdown?
So many times. Oh my gosh!
Say I saw it. I see it. Well, that reminds me of there's a cache, and we have to maintain we maintain it as a Motley Caching Crew group. We maintain that thing all the time, and it is a nano on a lamp that should be pushed up as high as possible. In fact, I have a painter's pole where I push it all the way up because of the difficulty level. It's like a 5 difficulty level. You need some sort of tool to get it. It's supposed to be way up there. Well, what ends up happening is people don't do it. Number one, or they claim they're going to do it. But even then, I've seen where people will go, I can't climb up there. Fine. They found it. I can't climb up there. It's too high. And I've sent them a note before and I go, you are claiming a find, even though you're admitting that you didn't sign the log. Yeah, I'm old. I don't do it. Well, then you shouldn't claim it. I mean, come on. So what ends up happening, of course, is the person that finds it, which is funny because you would think that they would try to put it back at least where they found it because they went to the trouble of finding it.
Yeah.
But they don't. They stand on the lamppost or whatever, and they put it up as high as they can, and that doesn't work. So,
well, it's because they didn't have a tool to get down in the first place. They just took their jacket and swung it and knocked it off, and then it
swung and got it. Now they got to put it. Yeah, now they got to put it further down. So that's. There was a poll we did earlier. I've got the results here.
Okay, you pull that up, and I'm going to pull up one of these comments. So, like Tyrannator says, in his opinion, no harm to place an LBC was obviously missing. Is there any harm there? No, there's not. There's zero harm there. Is it against the rules?
There's zero harm.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
I do have one that people claim is missing all the time. They claim it's missing. It's not. It's a nano. It's up in the thing. It's just people lift the skirt and they think it's going to be a pill bottle and it's not there and they go, oh, it's missing. Now wait a minute, it's not missing.
There's
no there.
harm in speeding unless you get caught, right? Like probably nothing's going to happen when you're speeding. You know, I'm not talking about reckless driving. Is it still against the rules? It absolutely is. And you know it is when you speed, right? But if you don't get caught and you don't run over anybody, there's no harm in it. It didn't harm anybody. However, breaking the rules and getting caught or harming somebody is totally different, right? is anything probably going to happen for the people out there that are replacing LBC that, you know, and it says clearly, like he's talking about, it's under the skirt. It's not there. You check the whole thing, or the skirt's missing, or whatever, you know, whatever. Is anything really going to happen with that? No. Yep. Now, however, if somebody called you on it and said it was missing because I took it out and I was going to replace it and get it clean, you know, clean it in there, and you came and did it while I was gone, I'm deleting your log. You're just going to have to go, my bad, man. You know, okay, you got me.
Yeah.
So,
like
it's one of those things. It's outside the lines, but we all know what we're doing. Now, taken to the extreme, like many people do, doing it as a regular habit just to cheat, that's just low class. And we know we're not naming any names. You and I both know people that do that. They do it as a regular habit just to bump their numbers, and they're just doing it, or they won't even sign the log and they'll do it. It's the same thing, right? It's not there. You're just pushing those numbers.
Yeah.
That's when it becomes just low class, and you need more going on in your life than geocaching if you have to cheat like that.
If you have to cheat at it, then you probably have other issues. So the great majority of the answers on the poll, which we did on, so definitely join our Geocache Talk community group and Facebook if you'd like to follow along on different things we do there. When you so the comment was about throwdowns, and they said this is when they said it was okay. Some of them said never. There were quite a few that said never, but the majority of people said, clicked on the answer, which was when you know the CO and they either won't mind the maintenance or have given permission, which is kind of what we talked about. So
in my opinion, that's not a throwdown though. Like, I know we put that on there as a selection, right? And I agree with them. You know, and I had personal buddies, you know, I had previous permission. They're like, if you ever find one of mine, just, you know, and it's saved me the time and let me know.
Yeah.
That's a different situation. That's not coming up on a random cache and you don't find it in the first 30 seconds, you throw one down. Two different things. I agree with them on that. I think that's totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the CO removes, the CO should do a lot of things, right? But
and
even finding a cache.
Sure.
No, I mean, go ahead.
No, I was going to say some of them, to me, it really comes down to the difficulty of the cache, the fact, and sometimes I've seen where, and I've got one that comes to mind where I knew the CO, I still did not replace it because I just wasn't sure. There's a situation, in my opinion, where I DNF'd it the first time. I went back and avenged the DNF, but I was at a point where I did not want to assume that I knew something that wasn't true. And in fact, I was correct. That cache was there. And think about how many times you and I have seen where some cacher, and it doesn't matter if they've found 16 caches or 16,000 caches, they get the it's arrogant to say the cache is missing. It really is.
Yeah, it is. Because it can always be something different.
I mean, yep. It could always be something. And just because there's been a couple DNFs doesn't mean that the cache is missing. It may or may not be.
No, and we've all been there.
You know, yeah, I know.
I just think,
I know.
I think the big deal, what it comes down to is certain people feel like a DNF looks down upon their like reputation as a cacher, which seems silly. You didn't find some. I have no trouble putting a DNF on something. I got a bunch of DNF logs out there. Well over 100. I know that. Yeah. But I think people just, one, are greedy and they want to get the smiley whenever they hadn't really found anything or deserve it. And two, they cannot bring themselves to put a DNF on their record, you know.
I know.
Because I have done some things that are extremely obvious And if I would have thrown down there, I would have been. You should be embarrassed because it's like it's right there and you miss it. So
yep,
one of those things. Is it against the rules? Always, yes. A throwdown is always against the rules. I have not seen anywhere where it's legal for that. Even if the owner says, like on the ET Power Trail, switch them out or whatever, I still don't think it's probably. I still think it's probably against the rules. However, is it the end of the world? No.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do it and you get caught, be prepared for the consequences, right? Like, don't get an attitude. Understand that you were in the wrong in the first place. You just got to move on past that.
The funny thing is the person that did those, the DNFs, or not the DNFs, the throwdowns, after we had our little spat online, they DNF'd one of mine after that. So they at least were honest about, after that, they did a DNF. Now, was it accurate? Yeah, it was missing because I needed to fix it. So, they're aviators. 1,339 DNFs. See, there's a proud member of the I Suck at Geocaching. Yeah. Buzz 82. Embrace your DNFs. Yeah,
that's right.
I mean, contact COs. Don't be afraid to cache owner in any situation. I think number one, communicate with a cache owner. If you know them, that helps the situation because you know them. If you are going to go somewhere to a location and you have time ahead of time, contact the CO like we did with the one that was in the Grapevine area. It had several DNFs. Now, we did not assume that it was missing. We suspected that it was missing. We had contacted the CO ahead of time. Now, that one's different because I did not know this person. So that one was a situation where I needed to contact them ahead of time because when I get out there, I wanted to make sure that we were able to replace it if possible. If they would have said, I don't want it replaced, we would have just moved on. I mean, me and all of the people I cache with, we don't care. We don't care about numbers. We're just out there to have fun.
Y'all just out there to have fun.
We don't want to prop now. We do want to help when possible. I mean, that's a situation where if we can help, and if you were to poll everybody that's watching the show and you and I, we have all been there in a situation where you open the container up and there's no log in it. Yeah. I sign a log and put a log in. And I keep going. I found the container.
Yeah.
That's
maintenance.
It's cache maintenance. Now, there are people, and I'm surprised, and I don't know if maybe you're not surprised at this, but I am surprised at the number of people who A, log the cache, B, don't do any maintenance when they could. They're not prepared to do it. Log's wet. We'll replace it. You're there. Fix it. Oh, I don't have anything to fix it with. Okay, well, that's fine. And I'm always surprised. I don't know why. I'm still shocked at the ones. I think I told you about the one we had one day where we went to go find this cache and they were explaining, which cache it was. And I know their situation. Cause it's, the weeds are probably tall out there from what I've seen. And they're like, weeds are too tall. We didn't want to go. We didn't want to walk out there. Found. Yeah. They mark it as found. You didn't find it. You didn't find Jack.
No, you did not.
You were in an area and you just claim that you found it. No, delete. I am deleting your cache and I'm telling you, come back in the winter or something like that. Yeah, Dave is like, I forgot my pen.
Yeah.
Take a picture. I mean, I'll accept almost anything.
Yes.
Yeah. At least take a photo. I'll give you credit for it. I mean, and I've seen people who they won't give you credit for that. You have to sign, which is fine. Like you and I've talked about. If you won't accept a picture, if you know it's rare. There was one in Arkansas we did. We weren't planning on caching. I didn't have a pen with me at the time. But again, I took a photo of the log. I sent the log picture to the CO, and I said, "Hey, we weren't planning on caching, but there was one nearby this restaurant, and I'm out with my kids, and we had a minute. We went and grabbed it. None of us had a pen, and I left it up to the cache owner. I said, I told him, I said, we didn't sign the log. Here's a picture of the log. If you want me to delete it, I have no problem with that. You can delete it.
Yeah.
You know, that's not our problem.
If they asked you to delete it, you couldn't be mad about it.
No, I was okay with it.
Yeah.
I didn't sign it. I was fine with that, which kind of is, I know we don't want to run too long, but what do you think of because this kind of gets back to my thing about the cache owner owns the cache. They can do whatever they want with it. In my case, if that lady would have asked me, can I replace your container that's missing? I would have probably said yes. Go for it. Now I was going, it was on my list. I was going to go do a bunch of cache maintenance. It just happened to catch right before I was about to do some. It's not a fib. I really was trying. I really had time set aside to do some cache maintenance. They just happened to catch it right at the wrong time. So anyway, what about the cache owner? And we have a cache in our area that you are allowed to claim it as an FTF.
I love that. That is hilarious.
It's got like 30 FTFs.
FTF is not a real stat. I know people are going to say, well, Project GC,
it isn't.
I don't care. It's not a geocaching.com stat.
It drives people insane.
Guess what?
It's their cache.
You can claim FTF on every event you go to if you get there first. There's no rules around it. You know
what's funny, because they encourage you to claim it as, in fact, the cache I think is called like something FTF. Yeah. And you're encouraged to claim it as because it doesn't matter, but people lose their ever-loving minds when they find out
sure they do.
Cache. You cannot claim this as an FTF.
You could put FTF in your signature line, and every cache that you ever have can have FTF on it, and you're not even breaking the rules because there is no FTF rule. You know,
right
now, is it kind of a weird? I mean, a jerk move to do if you're messing with somebody else?
It is
I've got more
kind of a
FTFs
jerk
than
move.
you. But you know what? FTF is one of those things, and we'll be getting on a whole different show. But some people claim it on events. Some people do a drawing at all their events, and the person that's drawing the name, they get the FTF for it, you know, for the event because they're giving it away as the cache owner.
Yep.
If the cache owner wants to say claim this is FTF every single time, that's their right to do that. There's going to be people that will absolutely lose their mind, right? Without a doubt.
They will.
But guess what? Sorry, it's just a game, man. Get over it.
It reminds me of, have you seen the logs that are 7,500, like 7,500 words? It's not, but it's the maximum amount of words because they want the Project GC log to look, you know how it tracks
their
how
average
many
words to go up. Yeah.
Average words
to
go up, but they're not putting anything of.
Yeah. It's just track.
And they're wasting.
It's annoying. But it doesn't matter, right? Like, I'm not going to get upset. I don't have time to get upset.
I don't care.
Is it annoying?
No, I don't care.
Of course it is. It's silly. But
of course it is.
If that's how they want to play the game, who cares, man? Like, whatever. But
those are the kind of things that are kind of funny, I guess.
But you know, again, I guess I would sum up this whole thing the same way. You know, do throwdowns happen? They do. If you're going to do it, you're in the wrong. So just be a little humble if somebody calls you out on it. But at the same time, it is not the end of the world, right? Like I think it was Terry Vieters. He said, "Is it really anybody harmed by me replacing if the guy says it's under the skirt, it's a 35 millimeter under the skirt, and when he gets there, it's missing, and he puts it back. Nobody's harmed by that. right? Now,
No.
you could probably come up with some stat saying, well, this messes this up, and it doesn't really. But could it ruffle somebody's feathers? Of course it could. But at the same time, at the end of everything, you kind of remember this is still the game where we have to get along with each other. And when people get the attitudes about stuff, that's the real problem. Not somebody replacing a crap hide somewhere. The real problem is when people get butthurt about stuff and start making the game like the internet, right? Like, dude, chill out.
Yeah.
I don't know what your bad day's about, but chill out. You know, if I broke the rules, I broke the rules. Okay, my bad. Let's move on. And I think that's the big thing with all this is just, it's supposed to be a game for fun. You know, we talk about the rules and we joke about them, but when people start being rude, that's where, that's where you got to kind of draw the line a little bit.
Yep. And my final thought is just contact the CO. Contact COs. Again, I was just put out by this person because they just could have taken the time to ask. But to me, it was the arrogance of, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. I'm replacing your cache for you. It was like, well, wait a minute. That's not how we're supposed to do things. So
yeah,
I would just, my thing is contact the CO. If you don't know them, contact them, let them know the situation. If they will not allow you to replace, then do not replace. Or if you replaced
that's cache maintenance.
Yeah. But if they did not want you to replace it, you could swing back by and grab your container and say, okay, I will mark it as a DNF. I mean, just mark it as a DNF and just let it go.
Yeah, guess what? You don't find every single one. And here's the deal. FTFs are against the rules. I mean, not FTFs, I'm sorry. Throwdowns are against the rules. We can start talking about FTF again.
Yeah.
Throwdowns are against the rules. You accept your consequences if you partake in it. That's all there is to it.
Yep.
Right?
That's it.
There may be circumstances and everything else, but they're against the rules. Plain and simple. We can talk all night about circumstances here, circumstances there, but that when you're breaking the rules, it could come back to bite you. That's all I would say.
Yep. Yep. Very good. All right. Well, we will see everyone next Saturday, not Sunday. Saturday. December 2nd at 4 p.m. Central, which is 5 p.m. Eastern. Put it into whatever time zone you are in the world, and join us for a great night of raising money for St. Jude. Podcasttohope.com is the website to go to that night. I've been putting together a lot of prizes. We'll have at least a prize a night, prize an hour during Podcast to Hope. And we will do the drawings after Podcast to Hope, and we will get everyone their prizes later. But if you'd like to give once an hour, you can. You will be entered into the drawing. If you want to give now because you aren't going to be able to make it to next Saturday's Podcast to Hope, you can give now. Go to podcasttohope.com, and it is available even right now. You can go give this very moment. So I was going to bring it up. So where's my link to Podcast to Hope? I'll type it in real fast just so that we can show it on the screen. Yep. So I did get Steve sent us a coin and some stickers or some magnets. So that's one of the ones we will be doing next week or next Saturday. We had him on last week, and he sent us the note on. So that was cool. Got that in the mail. We've got a shirt an hour we're going to be giving away, which is really cool. So thank you to all of our sponsors. Arted Crafted is giving away a shirt an hour, which is awesome. We have a cool set of coins from Space Coast. Thank you so much, Space Coast. for your gift. We had a gift of somebody sent back coins that they had won. Albedo 0.39. Ed sent us back his coins, and we're going to give those away. We have several vendors who have provided, and we have people who have we have some anonymous providers of some of the gifts. So anyway, but join us. We have a great lineup, I think, and it's going to be a fun night. So thank you everybody for joining. And again, we already have some money in there. Thanks.
There's some money in there already. That's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. So thanks everyone. And we will see everybody next week. So again, thanks everybody. Good night.
May your finds be many and your DNFs be few. May the terrain and difficulty both be less than 2. And whatever it is you're looking for, may it find its way to you. And may we all meet again.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. Please email us your comment at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify, as well as at the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below and ring that bell notification so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. Get them involved with us in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, go geocaching.